This review is presented by evdance and the perfect glass.
It's a very smart system that just lets you sink into it. But this car just makes very much sense. So it's no wonder it's such a popular car. For the last couple of years, wherever you looked, whenever you looked, you've always been able to spot a Tesla Model Y. They're just everywhere, and for good reason. 2023, it became the most sold EV in the world, and 2024, it became the most selling car in the world. Well, that says a lot about a car and a model that really sets itself in a position of being one of the strongest in the automotive industry, and has been a benchmark for many other cars to work towards in many different regards, especially battery technology and this kind of more clean, futuristic type of way that you use a car. Intuitive, that are futuristic, and that people just like at rather affordable prices. And all in all, a little over 8 million Teslas are on the roads around the world. That is rather impressive. And the Tesla Model Y, well, 3.5 million units has been sold. So I only got 48 hours with this one, the new Tesla Model Y Juniper, as it's also called. And it has been refreshed, renewed. 70% of this car is new compared to the previous one. And if we start with the looks of it, well, we can see that the looks of the front is a bit more aggressive. They've really gone into this mainstream of let's stretch out the LED ramp in the front and also at the back to look a bit more futuristic. But I think it looks really good, and I think it gives it a great stance. It looks a bit more like the Tesla Cybertruck in the front, and that is also the idea. Headlights are moved further down. The badge in the front is no more. Do you like that or not? I think it looks really clean. But now with its new looks, maybe it should still have that emblem there. Anyhow, they've worked with the aerodynamics as well, and they got some inlets in front of the wheel arches. You got these 19-inch rims, go for them. You can go for the 20s as well, but it will be a bit more harsh ride, and well, you lose a couple of kilometers. So get these ones. They are also one of the best that they've created for Tesla when it comes to efficiency and aerodynamics. So the bumper in the front is new. This one is also a bit new, a little cutaway here for the wind to slip away a bit easier. When you look at it in profile, it's about the same as before. So yeah, we're familiar there. When you move to the back, well, there is a bit more pieces there. So if anything gets damaged, well, it's easier to change these parts instead of having a whole piece as before. And the rear is rather cool. Better aerodynamics with that little spoiler, a new bumper at the back, but the most eye-catching and striking thing back there is the indirect light that is being displayed on the Tesla letters back there. And that is also one of the longest LED ramps in the automotive business at the moment. The one that I'm testing here is the Model Y long range all-wheel drive. So dual motor, 4-wheel drive, 568 kilometers in range, 14.8 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers in combined consumption, which is really good. If you get the rear wheel driven one with less power, a little less range, 500 kilometers, but the combined consumption in that one is 13.9, and that is really low. So very slippery, very efficient, and that is what they're all about. They don't want to talk about battery, the kilowatt hours, or how much power there is in the cars. They always want to set that first of how effective, how efficient they are. And then there is also the long-range rear-wheel drive, 622 kilometers in range for that one. But still, there is some performance in them, of course. This one does 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 4.8 seconds. The long-range rear-wheel drive, 5.6, and then 5.9 for the smaller battery. The smaller battery, it can take a charge of 175 kilowatts at a fast charging station. The other ones with a bigger battery, like this one, well, it can take 250.
evdance is your #1 go-to online store for EV chargers. 20% discount when using the code EVD What Car. Check out the links in the video description.
The rear has also been improved for a bit more performance. If you drive at higher speeds, well, it's a bit more stable there as well. So all for the better. All for the better when it comes to efficiency, and all for the better when it comes to a bit more sporty drive. But this has a lot more done to its chassis settings as well. So this is supposed to be a lot more quiet, a lot more subtle, and a lot better to drive. So that will just be interesting to try out. On the move and on the move driving this car, that's where the biggest step up has been made. It is extremely comfortable to drive. Just like any electric car, it's smooth, it's quiet, but this one takes on the road like a car in a very, very high premium segment. It feels like it's very, very quiet in here. It is stuffed. You can feel that the isolation has been improved. Double glass, better stuffing, and just the overall feel when you drive around, just touching everything, it just feels a lot more plush, a lot more luxurious. And even at higher speeds, it's quiet. So you can feel that the aerodynamics are a lot more improved. You sit a little higher as you do in some SUVs or crossovers. This is supposed to be more of a crossover SUV, sitting a little higher, and you have such good vision all around. It's just a big window here, the window here, and the line is rather low. Every time I see some drivers in Model Ys, I've always thought that they look a bit ridiculous because it feels like you're sitting a bit too high. And even though I'm in the lowest setting, you feel that you're sitting a bit high, but it feels good. I mean, isn't this how you want to drive? Isn't this the seating position that you really want? You want to have good vision all around. I mean, that makes you feel safe. And you really do in this car. It's got so many safety features, and it's also very cool to see how this is more or less a benchmark car for all other cars to work towards. Some have become better, and you always see that when you drive some different cars, like, wow, it's become better in this area and that area. They've listened to the customers here and there, and of course Tesla take that very seriously as well, their customers. Being such a popular car, 3.5 million sold units, I mean, it becomes a big community, and they listen to that community. And of course, they can take that feedback and do so much with it when it comes to improvements. And they've really done most of the bits in here for this new one. But the magic thing about it, as I said before, is that there is some trickery about it. It's just so easy. You step into it, and just in about an hour or so, you're into the system. Doesn't matter that you don't have a head-up display. Doesn't matter that you don't have a cluster in front of you. It just works so well. You just push this one, and then it's in auto. It follows the lines extremely well when you're in cruise control. It shows you the car in front of you. You see stop signs, you see different cones, objects, cars behind you, people walking, bicyclists, children, everything. And it reads out it so well. So this camera system is also improved, and it's not laggy at all. So it just follows the road very smoothly. It just feels very worked through. And then if you want to set the steering into light, well, then it's very light, but that is good. Driving in town, just being, you know, like lazy and want to be comfortable, then you have it in that one. But still, it's got some pretty good feel to it. Standard, rather good. It's like a medium for just a little sporty and a little more comfortable ride. And then you have powerful, and that gives rather good feedback, I think. And I think it really, you know, like reacts on your commands. Works good. And the power, I mean, I think it's about 500 horsepower plus. 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds. That is just more than well enough, and it just picks up speed all the way up to 200 kilometers an hour. You don't need to go any faster in these cars. But if you want to drive a bit more active, well, of course, 2 tons. It's a little under 2 tons. So it's not that big of a lump, but still you can feel it sometimes. But I just like the way it moves about. It is, of course, very quick, but very stable. But one thing that I don't really like, at the same time I like it, but I don't like it, is the brakes. They are some sort of race style brakes in that way that they are very heavy. You need to get a lot of strength into them before that real power comes, but they're not delicate in any way, and I think they should be a bit more delicate. So you need to be rather forceful to get the feedback from them. but I mean, it's got very strong regenerative drive, so all of that works out really well. It just comes to a stop when you drive in traffic. That works so well. So feels like there's no prioritizing for driving sporty when using the brakes. But they could have been a bit more delicate. And that is strange in its overall feel, because it's rather light, it feels predictable, it's steady, it's safe, and you know, it doesn't get out of hand until you provoke it extremely hard. So all of that is very soft and nice. But then you get to the brakes. They are a little out of shape there in that way, even though they're strong. But as smooth as everything else is, well, they're a little out of line. So let's just see how it feels 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds. I mean, it picks up speed well. And this better dynamics regarding the driving, well, that is down to the new manufacturing process that they've done at Tesla for this car. And that is because they've cut down on many components and they've been focusing on adding rigidity instead. There's also new kinematics to make the suspension work a lot better, softer anti-roll bars, and all of that adds up to a very, very pleasant ride that also feels a lot more connected, because the old car was maybe not the most exciting car to drive. All EVs are of course exciting in some way because they have that much acceleration and stuff, but that's not what cuts it all the time. You need to have some, well, once again, dynamics when it comes to driving, and this is really, really improved in that area. So it just adds up to a package of a fun car that is at the same time very comfortable to drive, predictable in all its way, and it doesn't feel like it goes out of hand. It just clinches on to the road very, very nicely. And they set the bar rather high with a very good frunk, 175 liters, and the trunk is also very, very generous. Big space back there, and it's a lot space underneath the floor. So you get about over 2,100 liters if you fold the rear seats forward. And you do that very easily with a push of a button. And you can also fold the cover at the back forward. Same door handles as before. I never really liked them, but they are rather easy when you get along with them and you know where to push. And they're a bit more easy now. You can feel that. Cameras all over, which just monitors everything. So you are in full control whenever you want to park, wherever it needs to look for safety, or if you just want to have some view of all around the car when you drive along. So this is the first review for me of a Tesla, and I'm rather excited. And so far, the first couple of hours in this car and just working with the systems, I feel very, very comfortable. It's a very smart system that just lets you sink into it in a way that is hassle-free. And that is very impressive to me. Stepping into this clean-looking, minimalistic interior. And what strikes me first is the thought of, isn't this a little boring? Isn't it a little too clean? You might think so when you try out many different cars and you think that I would like to have a knob there, a button there, and something to adjust it quickly with. But quickly you understand that Tesla is one of the strongest when it comes to intuitive functions. Even though I'm not that familiar to these cars, it took me like 20 minutes just fiddling around a little on the screen, and I was at home immediately. So there is some magic about that. It is just so easy to understand, and it comes up in these different divided menus, and you know where everything is. Well, started off by setting the side mirrors. It just came up here, mirrors, bum, and then it just showed me how to adjust it. Very, very easy. And the steering wheel, well, there as well. Do it in different steps, or you can do it quickly as you scroll. And when you push it to the right side or the left side, well, then it adjusts in depth. And then when you're satisfied with that, well, then you just look around and then you understand and appreciate that minimalism, that good looking design that is in here. and that is well thought through. Now it's a bit new. The seats are about the same, but they are a little better, and they just look lovely in this white. They are so inviting. How do they feel? Well, I sat without my big jacket before, and they are really, really comfortable. They have some type of resistance to them, but at the same time, they are ergonomically great shape for your body, so you sit in a bit more relaxing way. You might think that an American car should be a bit more soft, have that touch, but these are a bit sporty and a bit soft at the same time, which I just like. A lot of vegan materials in here, but still they just feel great to the touch. A bit of stitching here and there, and this one, some type of recycled material. Very airy in the front, this LED ramp that runs across, which you can just set in so many different colors. And also something when buttons are supposed to be, you know, the door opener. You might be a bit, does that work? Well, they have placed it just perfectly here. You just get your hand there where it's supposed to be, and then you push with your thumb and you open it. I mean, it's smart. It's smart. I like it. The window buttons, they feel good. Good resistance to them. You have a emergency opener here as well if something would fail. Big pockets down here to put stuff. And here, open this one, and down here you can put your whole arm down there. So very good space. 2 cup holders here. And you got some extra space here as well. 2 induction chargers, really good. They are leaned a bit so you can see them. There is something that I'm not that fond of, and that is that it isn't any display in front. No head-up display or something like that. But I guess that everyone that had this car before, that has a Tesla, is so used to this. When you drive on the motorway, you set the cruise control, you set it in automatic drive, and it will just go to the destination that you set into the navigation, and it's supposed to do that very well. So I guess that's why they don't want to put any more stuff here. Well, it makes it even more clean, of course. The steering wheel, it has always been a funny looking one in my opinion. It looks a bit like a sim game of some simpler standards, but the grip is really, really nice. It's small. It gives you this feeling of driving a go-kart. I think that a bigger one would do it. You get rather invited to driving a bit more active in some way. And it is a bit more fun with a small steering wheel. It's very connected. And you can also set the different dynamics of that. You can set the dynamics of the acceleration, standard, chill, how the speed is being reduced or standard. The ESP system, auto, when it's slippery or when it's needing some extra assistance in terrain. And when you want to change the gear, well, you do that on the screen. You just swipe it down for reverse and all the camera comes up, and then forward to drive forward. And then you just push it or hold P and then it goes into park. Very easy, very easy. And this system is so quick. It just moves at the speed of light. There is no lagginess at all. And it's almost like you don't even need to touch it. Almost like you think of, I need to turn that to the left, and it reacts. It is just so perfect. That is nothing that you will get frustrated about. No lagginess. This system works. A lot of settings here that as a Tesla owner might be familiar with. And it reminds me a bit of the Volvos as well, and Polestars. They have a bit the same typing, smaller ones. It feels like an iPhone. Sometimes I've always thought that iPhones are so correct when you are on the keyboard and you want to write. On some Androids that I had, even though I like Androids and I use an Android, you might misspell sometimes, but not on an iPhone. And it's the same here. It's just like you don't misclick anywhere here, and that is rather convenient and rather nice. And when you just slide it from side to side, you get different menus. You get this menu of the navigation here, and look at this. I mean, it just moves so quickly. It is just wow, like it. And you can get into these shortcuts of getting to know where all these superchargers is. So you just plan your route and it will take you there effortlessly without any hassle whatsoever. So no wonder you can plan your travels rather well and charge up
rather quick and getting to your destination without getting frustrated. And when you set camping mode, well, then it will retain the heat in here until the battery gets to 20%. And a bit more cool, this roof is also new, so it's supposed to reflect a lot more heat than before, and that is also efficient. And then you got a camera if you want to record how you drive, if you want to record yourself, and all around the car. You can also talk to the car to give it some commands. Light is here. If you want to flash, that's still a button. And also you got the window washer here on the button as well. But what they've done is that they've removed the indicator buttons, which was sitting on the steering wheel before. Now we're provided with a indicator stalk, which is just nice in its feel. You got karaoke, you got arcade, you got a lot of games and stuff, podcaster, YouTube music, camera, as we said, messages. Everything just gets integrated into this screen. System has been updated as well for when you connect your phone. There's also been a lot of improvements to the microphone, 66% clearer calls. The connectivity is a lot stronger, next gen, and that provides 50% faster download times, and also improved range when you got your phone connected, about 30%. Also when streaming movies and all of that is up to 300% quicker. So smooth without any lagginess or grainy movies there. Back seat. First off, generous base seat here, which gives great support, actually. And what you can do back here, which is just good, is that you can adjust the backrest. That is really, really, really good. Like that. And it's so roomy in here. Good space for my head. 175 centimeters, and I'm sitting just perfect back here. Rather a stiff headrest, but the seats in general are just good. Just love this wipe, and I'm just thinking, oof, when you have some kids that are gonna mess around back here, well, will it be easy to clean up? Well, I guess it will with some quality detailing products. The Perfect Gloss Puma Candy APC, an all-purpose cleaner that cleans practically all materials. Like a gel, it stays on the surface, works the dirt and doesn't drain off. Easy to wipe clean. Enjoy this one, it's incredible. Use the code WCWT for a discount. A little light up here, which you just touch neatly, and it turns on and it turns off. And then you got a little hook for your coat or anything else. Pockets here, good feel. Same buttons, of course, back here for opening the door, emergency opening down here, and a lot of space to stretch out your feet. So, and it doesn't feel that the floor is that raised here as well. A lot of space, and you can move about and you can sit fairly good in the middle as well. Isofix and some cup holders in the middle here, and on this parcel shelf back here, well, you can put some stuff. And then you got your little 8-inch screen back here. The kids will like this because you can get into games and you can play some games. You need to sit in a lean forward position though, but maybe you can connect it to your phone and then you can play with your phone as a remote. Otherwise, you can set the climate, how it should be dispersed back here. If you want heat in your seats, you can watch some movies, Netflix, YouTube, and music and everything else. So connect your Bluetooth there as well. USB-C out ports down there. And just a very, very roomy back seat back here. And you got such good vision all around. So this is almost as airy as it can get. So the prices for the new Model Y here in Sweden starts at 554,900 Swedish crowns. Depending on where you live, what is that? About 50,000 euros. And this Model Y long range all-wheel drive, well, that starts at 649,900 Swedish crowns. And the seats, they feel just fine when pushing on a bit more. You sit in a rather sporty way. These white seats, well, they come at a little extra cost, but something just tells me like it's worth it because it makes a lot of the car, I think, in my opinion, of how it looks. It just sparkles and it's so white and it's just so airy and light in here. So I would go for these ones. It just breaks off very nicely to all the other materials in here. Something that really rings of different sounds when there are stones that are being thrown around in the wheel archers, that really transfers into the cabin many times in cars, and they worked a lot on that as well, putting sound deadening materials in there to make it even more quiet. So you can really notice that when you drive over some some gravel and stones. And every time I drive out of this little community where I live, there are a lot of speed bumps, and rather harsh speed bumps. So I always analyze how it feels when I got a new car for test. And this one, very smooth in general over all these bumps. It really absorbs it nicely. So you can put this up on a leasing here in Sweden for the base equipped one, which has everything that you practically need. Well, that is 4,352 Swedish crowns a month. So a little less than 400 euro a month. But they've also been able to lower that price, the price in general, and the price for the leasing fee, and also for the insurance fee of these cars, because it's been divided into more pieces that are easily replaceable. That's very smart. You can get it in a couple of different colors. There is pearl white multi-coat, solid black, stealth gray, and the color that we got here, which is called quicksilver. So the pearl white multi-coat, well, that is no extra cost. Solid black is 15,000 Swedish crowns. Stealth gray is 15,000 Swedish crowns. This quicksilver is 30,000 Swedish crowns extra, and also is the ultra red. The 19-inch rims, which we got on this one, which are a bit more efficient aerodynamically, and which you should go for because it becomes a bit more smoother ride. If you don't need to drive that sporty, you won't be driving that sporty. But if you want to pay 24,000 Swedish crowns extra for that, then you get the 20-inch ones. Included is the all black interior, the black seats and all the black all around. But for 13,000 Swedish crowns, well, you get this white. And go for the white if you can. If you can afford that, and if you want to add that, because it will make your day a bit more bright, because it is a lot brighter and it just feels a lot more luxurious in this white. You got the basic autopilot in this one, but if you want to add on some more advanced systems, then you can go for the upgraded autopilot for 38,900 Swedish crowns, or you go for the total self-driving system. And for that you have to pay a little more, 77,700 Swedish crowns. So what do I think about this Tesla Model Y Juniper? Well, I haven't been driving that many Teslas, as I said, and it's a rather nice experience getting into this car, and you understand why it's so likable. Everything just works straight off the bat. It is minimalistic. It's minimalistic on another level, maybe a little too minimalistic for my taste. But still, when you see and you feel how good everything works in this minimalistic interior and Tesla world, if you want to call it that, then you understand why. And it becomes a little of an addiction, actually. You don't want anything more. This is really less is more, even though there is more underneath. And that's what makes it very, very special. But as you step into a Tesla and you know that a car has been selling more than any other, well, then it has really made its statement in that way. And then you need to analyze it like, is this a benchmark for every other car to work towards? And maybe it is. Maybe there are some other cars that I might find a little more, that flirts a little more with their systems and with their different charm. But this car is very clear to me, and it's very clear to me that it is somewhat of a very likable car. Because as soon as you step into it and you drive off and you start working with the systems and you connect it to your phone, and as you approach it, it opens, and you open the trunk, the frunk, everything, and how you preheat it, and everything in between. Well, that just sums it up of being a car that is so easy to live with, and that just becomes a success. So you don't need to argue with that much. And I also like that it becomes a little of a competition between different brands, because they should compete
They should copy and paste that many times, but at the same time tweak it and do it in their own way. I think that's characterful. But this, well, it has its character and is very, very well created. And the sort of driving experience that you get and the comfort level of it. So let's just see if it becomes such a big success once again.